What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the North Leeds Jitz podcast, episode 145. This week we have an episode. Last week we got so busy. It was loads going on. And there's still loads going on, but we found some time.
We've squeezed it in, literally, in the 1 hour we both had this week.
There'll be kids in less than 60 minutes, so blast through a bit of a catch-up, let members know what we're up to, let them know some exciting things that have gone on, some exciting things that are coming. Just have a catch up with you guys, really. What's going on in your life, Mike? You got a lot going on.
I've got loads going on, man. Well, I mean, I'm quite an open book, so I don't mind talking about this stuff. It's a personal issue, but as you know, and just been and had a really good conversation with Joe Gordon, who's a good friend of mine, a business partner, and we're talking about maybe as a family we might sell the house that we live in just around the corner and downsize and try and release some equity and basically to buy time back for particularly Sarah, but because I won't get any more time because I'm too bloody busy, but particularly for Sarah, but so we can spend time as a family together. And it's just, I don't know if it's just an age thing, like you get to a certain point in your life and you start to see the world differently, or it's just our situation or whatever. But again, I was having this conversation with someone, David Lloyd earlier, who I know, and he was saying, man, it's the time. You're not rewarded for time by society because it's like, it's got no quantifiable kind of cost to it. You're rewarded by society by a bigger car, a faster car, a bigger house, more money in the bank. None of that really matters, does it? So it's a difficult one because society's kind of tricked us into thinking that commodities are the things that we should be doing and getting and acquiring more of. Well, actually, sometimes you need to subtract to go forward. And that's kind of the space we're in. So means a potential move out of area for me to the city centre or somewhere like that. But I think we could make it an exciting next chapter for us as children.
Well, I know you've always been motivated, like never been shying away from it. Like spending more time with your boys as they get older, considering Austin's 14 now, is he?
Yep.
Like in 4 years' time, they'll probably be like leaving home. I know you've always been open that you didn't get to spend, like, I didn't really want to spend a lot of time with your dad growing up. It's been always been a big motivator for you that, like, that comes first, like, making sure you're there.
Still don't see my dad. I it's getting quite personal. This could be like a therapy session for Mike. So I reached out to my dad, actually. I've not spoken to him for about 5 years. I reached out to him about 6 weeks ago, just out of the blue, and just said, listen, I've been thinking about you. I hope you're good. Blah, blah, blah. He messaged me back, oh, that's really lovely. I'm just about to go on holiday. I said, oh, give me a shout when you get back. I'll take you out for coffee or for lunch, something like that. Not heard from him. Oh. So, you sometimes don't get to choose, man. So if you've got people in your life that, and that's fine, but if you've got people in your life that you do want to spend time with and they want to spend time with you, like that's the magic, isn't it? And your kids, absolutely. So like, I mean, I spend, when I'm not in here, as most parents will understand, like I'm a taxi driver for the boys. So I was in York last night with Awesome for 3 hours playing football. I'm in York tonight with Awesome playing football. So finding time for them is key, really. And that's what we're trying to do. So I only share this because in the interest of being open, and there'll be people listening to this for sure who feel a similar way or in a similar situation. And, if you ever just want to chat about it, I just want everyone to know that you can come and grab me in the academy and talk.
For sure, and it's always fun seeing. I remember thinking back to some of the Zoom classes we did, and me and Gabe like messing around with the mats before we'd start recording and put our serious faces on.
He was about this big.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, oh, Gabe's a lot smaller than Awesome, but actually, like from when I first knew Gabe properly, it's like he's actually grown like a lot. And what I think has been one of his biggest developments is actually being in like the Sea Cadets, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, like I think he just seems to take life a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
Like in overall,
He's just maturing, mate. So he's just hit puberty, Gabe. So he's growing and he's fighting Awesome all the time, and it's like that's not going to change. But yeah, he's got this ambition to join the Marines. So he said like Awesome might leave in 4 years' time. Gabe wants to join the Marines when he's 15 years and 9 months old.
That's the minimum age.
That's the minimum age. And if he does it, and I think I've said this before, if he does it on that day, It'll be 26 years to the day that I walked through the gates of Livingston Commando. So it's quite like the stars were aligned. So that means he's basically leaving home in 2.5 years. So that's not long at all. But yeah, I think he is maturing a little bit. It's great. I think it helps working here. You've got a sense of responsibility. You've got to show up. You've got to do your job. Yeah.
Maybe one of the things we want to talk about in a bit was the junior leadership program and how we ran our first workshop for those guys. And I think...
Well, you did.
Yeah, as an academy, we all facilitated, don't we? And it's funny. I was actually around at Danny Alley's house on Sunday, getting my hair cut, and everyone was there, and we were talking about how Joey came home being like, "Oh, I've had a really tough day. I've been at meetings today, like taking life really serious." Like and he's going to Philippa about, "I know how you must feel like coming home from work and stuff like this now." So they take it so seriously. They take it so professionally, even though Joey's like 9 years old, 8 years old, however old he is those kids, I think they get so much from doing that. And I remember a bit growing up and doing similar things, not so formally or professionally in Thai boxing, but it would make you so much more mature, because I've never had a point in my life where I got really scared about, I've got to go up and do a presentation, that kind of thing, because I'd like led class warm-ups and stuff since I was like 10 and stuff in the adults class. So it was like, I was just used to it. And I think for those kids, like, man, it's just like another way they're getting so much development. Not even really to do with jiu-jitsu, just being more confident, being more mature, being able to speak to a group of people and be able to be patient and be able to listen and all those kind of things.
It's so huge. Again, chatting to someone earlier, and they said, my biggest fears, because they was asking how my speaking's going. You might have noticed if you follow me on Instagram, I'm speaking a lot at the minute, which is good, and I'm actively pursuing that. And he said, I've run a business, I've got a family, I can do anything. He said, but I cannot. Like the thought of getting in front of 200 people, like just freaks me out. It's like, yeah, that's like most people are like that. And it's because we want to fit in, right? We want to be accepted by the community or the people that we're talking to. And if you get it wrong, or you forget what you've got to say, or you fall over like I did at football last night in front of a crowd of people, Ziggy tripped me up, then you feel embarrassed because you feel like you might not be accepted by the group. So the sooner we can just eliminate that from their lives, which we're already doing, most of them, just imagine the biggest fear for adults in the UK is not going to be a fear for you. Like, that's massive. That's absolutely huge, isn't it? Never mind, then what's another fear? That you might be attacked and you might, get mugged. Or we'll just solve that one for you. Jiu-jitsu. I think it is really, we lose sight sometimes of the broader benefits to particularly not just our kids, but particularly our kids in the school. It is a life-altering path that they're on, I think. If you compare them directly to, say, a kid who's sat at home all day playing PlayStation. Yeah,
and it was funny not for the podcast, but I was doing a lot of research for some marketing actually, and I was put out forms into the group chats, and I got a better idea and understanding of why parents want kids to start jiu-jitsu, what they're scared of in terms of them starting jiu-jitsu, and what they actually wanted the kid to get out of through doing jiu-jitsu over the long term. And some of that information was so it reinforced some knowledge. It was new knowledge on many things, and it was just very interesting.
What were the kind of general themes?
Well, I had one very funny one, which it was like one of the tiny champions' parents was worried that they would get cauliflower ear. But I don't know what it is about that. Kids don't tend to get cauliflower ear. I don't know if it's because of the lack of front headlocks and guillotines. They don't. But
they don't do a lot of pressure passing as kids, do you? You don't learn that connection really until you're a bit.
I think I don't know what it is, but it's really hard to teach kids pressure passing. They just don't. Mobility passing, they'll run around all day, but.
It's because you have to feel it. So I was doing a thing today, this week in GB1, the Monday lunchtime class. It's always a really busy, fun class. And I was talking about the feeling that you want to create as the top player in side mount. And when we go to side mount, we tend to be on our knees, and then we'll go for a cross-facing underhook, which means we're on our elbows. And actually, there's very little connection between us. There's very little pressure between us. So I got everyone just to put their chest on the partner's chest, no arms, and sink in and kind of almost settle into the position, then take the grips. And it's a like night and day different feeling. You know, people say, man, you feel so heavy on top. Like, that's why. It's not strength, it's not size, it's the distribution of and the connection you can make between your weight and their weight. And then kids, because you have to feel it, it's a hard thing to teach, I think.
Yeah. I think they just sometimes feel very awkward, like a lot of them are just too nice. They're like, they're like, I don't want to hurt this kid, even to the point where they're like, don't want to submit.
A lot of our adults are like that. They say that to us. Oh, I don't want to.
Yeah. But yeah, there's lots of interesting information there. Most of it was around like self-defense, discipline, confidence, the kind of things you would think of like people would want to learn martial arts as kids. Some of it was a bit different in terms of more values, in terms of like learning how to listen better or focus better and things like that. So
you know the best thing I think is that, and I'll use soaps as an example because we joked about it in our meeting yesterday. Like, it is a non-negotiable for our kids that they come into jiu-jitsu. So it's not even a choice. It's like, I know how good this is for you. You're going every week, twice a week for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's not quitting on something. That's the biggest thing. It's sticking at something and then they get really good at it and they enjoy it. Orson, I've told you the story a million times about his kick-ups, right? When he was 8 years old, couldn't do 3. Now he can do 3,000 or whatever. It's the process of learning. As soon as he can get to understand that, okay, I put work in here, I try hard, I commit to it, I don't give in, good things happen. Like, once you've figured that out, then the wheels are off in life and you're going to invest in yourself. You're going to, commit to stuff and you're going to be successful. It's as simple as that.
I'll read you on the adults one. There was someone listed out 10 reasons why they continue to train jiu-jitsu, which I thought was cool. It's addictive. It gets you. This is number 1. It's addictive. Getting better is always just out of reach, but not impossible. 2, the community culture keeps you motivated and inspired. 3, it's a life-saving skill. Once you've been pinned, you realize how much you need jiu-jitsu. 4, it's holistic, primal, functional fitness. 5, it's mentally stimulating. 6, it's fun, like play fighting with your siblings. 7, it's disciplined, but also allows for individual creativity and style. 8, it shows where you're physically and mentally weak and where you're becoming more effective. 9, it has philosophical elements of control and energy. 10, when new people come, you get to help them, and that's always nice. That was a nice response.
That is a very well put together response.
Yeah.
Can you say who it is?
It's anonymous, I don't know.
Wow, well, whoever that was, then thank you for taking the time to think so carefully about it and for those insights.
There was a lot of really nice ones like that. I'll let you have a look at some point. The overwhelming reason why adults were apprehensive about starting was injury there, which we kind of know through the website analytics in like an old blog Mike wrote, which I went in and just cleaned up a little bit in terms of style, not writing style, in terms of how it was laid out on the page recently, is one of the most read or visited pages on our website.
Common injuries in jiu-jitsu, yeah.
That's right, yeah. So I think, and we, with the Train Safe guide, and I think there's probably loads more content we can do around that, because big part of what we want to do here at GBRL is educate as many people who don't know what jiu-jitsu is, that it's a great sport and it's accessible to you, whether you are on the low end of that age spectrum that we had from here, which is like 17, up to the higher end of the age spectrum, like 55 or for even older. So I think there's some good content to be made around that.
Yeah, and just ongoing learning. And I was observing our GB2 live training on Monday. I trained, but there was a couple of rounds I set out to allow everyone else to train. And there was like a clash of heads. And someone's foot smacked someone in the head. The foot, because they were in side mount, so their feet are behind them, so they can't see behind them. The person who got kicked in the face kind of looked quite shocked and a bit like miffed, like what? And I'm like, you're facing them. It's your responsibility to move out of the way. They've kicked you, I get it, and that's not cool, but they didn't know that was going to happen. And if you just looked up for a moment, so having that awareness from a safety point of view, just that overall awareness is crucial. That's the learning for someone this week about that.
Yeah, I think there's a part on Train Safe where it talks about situational awareness and then goes into one of the Danaher quotes from there, which was around how situational awareness is you start to develop it on the map, but it's actually one of those skills where you're going to take it out onto the street as well. Just being, more aware of your surroundings, not just kind of. There's funny memes that videos that people make around it and like airports nowadays, where it's like you and your girlfriend walking through the airport. And like the guy's like looking at, okay, the exits are there. Like this is like, and the girl's just like making my way downtown.
Mate, it's one of the first things to teach you when you're doing covert work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's your understanding of the environment and where you fit into it. So like, and there's a really cool thing called the baseline. Have I told you this before?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's matching your behaviour to the baseline of the environment of other people. So the airport is the classic. So departures and arrivals. It's the same airport, very, very different feeling. One's really excited and quite loud and buoyant, and one's kind of a bit more depressed. And you need to insert yourself into those environments with the same kind of energy level. And so it absolutely goes from here out onto the street, because you automatically now, you're not walking your head down, you're walking your head up. You're not looking for every exit, but you're aware of where people are. You're aware of what's going on in front of you, and you're placing that moving kind of jigsaw puzzle of things. And also, of course, there's a safety element to it. Like when we've run a couple of free self-defense seminars for women, which have been really good. And the amount of times I've said at the beginning of those sessions, and to others as well, like, do you go for a run? Yeah. Tell me about that. What do you wear? Normally in a hoodie, because, it's cold, hood up. Earpods in, listen to a podcast. I'm like, there's no chance you're going to know someone's going to come behind you and grab you. It's just being aware of little things like that. It can be a lifesaver, man.
100%. Let's talk a little bit around some of the things we accomplished in the last quarter. Got the op design sorted, so that's the TV in reception with all the news on there and the comms.
Yeah, it's a good point to raise about that, mate. So I would encourage everyone, as you walk into our academy, like, just have a look at it. You spend 10 seconds looking at it. It rolls through every 5-10 seconds. Key information, all the key information you need will be on there, in addition to WhatsApp, the rolling report. So it's a good information provider. Probably
a good one to start with there, because I think actually since the new year, probably the biggest thing we focused on was communication.
Yeah.
In terms of how many different ways and times do we communicate something that changed? Because we change all the time. Like, we are always testing and adjusting and making sure like we are the best we can possibly be. Even just before this podcast, I'm like putting out a poll to see, okay, would it change people's live training or morning training if we moved classes a little bit earlier, So always trying to test and adjust. And there's a new Nogi class starts on May the 9th. So there's always just stuff going on in here. And we just want to make sure that everyone is always clued up as much as possible. So you've got the WhatsApp groups. And I think when at the start of the year, we wanted to be like, we need to be better. So we implemented things like the Academy calendar. We changed that to be better. So someone can literally subscribe to it on the Google Calendar. We started to use the email a lot better, and we've implemented the rolling report, and we've got the op design and end of class messages. We talk about that a lot more in things like team meetings. Anytime there's something going on, it's always like, hey, end of class messages, let's hit these to try and make sure that everyone's clued up, because I think, again, when you talk about service, people don't mind change as long as they know what's going on. It's that kind of thing around the biggest improvements they made to like the London Underground wasn't like making it faster, it was letting people know when the trains actually come in. Or the same with the Uber map, like you're happy to wait for a taxi if it's going to come in 10 minutes rather than having the unknowing, even if it arrived in 5 minutes, you had a worse experience because you didn't know when it was going to arrive, you didn't know if it was going to be late, all those kind of things. So just the better comms you can do, the better everyone feels.
Have you heard of the Dunbar number?
No.
So this is something I learned recently, which is quite cool actually. In fact, I think it was a guy called Bruce Daisley. I was speaking on a panel in London, and Bruce Daisley, who was the former head of X or Twitter for Europe, was speaking, and he spoke about a Dunbar number. So basically, there's this kind of research this psychologist, I think the psychologist Dunbar did. Anyway, basically, it's about the amount of people, the number of people that you can have a kind of relationship with.
Okay, yeah.
So, they say you can have like a close relationship with about 12 people.
Yeah.
And then each one of those is 12. So it's like 144 people. Like once you go above that, we always say the Dunbar number is about 150. Hormozy speaks about it actually, I think. Once you're above that, you cannot have meaningful relationships with all those people and you can't communicate with them. So I think that's where in the early days when we had 80 members, 90 members, 120, we knew every kid's name, every kid's middle name, the dog's name, where they lived, what school they went to. Like, it's impossible. So making sure that we've been aware of that and working really hard to get better at hitting all those people, regardless of where you get your information from.
Nice. Communicate out and hold the first meet the professor / parents evening. That was an interesting one, wasn't it?
Yeah. Something we're going to be doing on a regular, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, again, go back to that service, I think for adults, accountability is such a underutilized part of what can really benefit someone. So, for instance, let's look at Johnny's 12-week program, right? I think one of the best bits about that is the accountability of having to check in weekly.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that was actually when I did it a few years ago, or the most of it. That was actually what kept me on track.
In the office eating donuts.
Yeah. Not even my own, because my own discipline would falter more than I would want to let Johnny down, in a way. So, it's not a good thing. Veronica talks about this a little bit in terms of if you were going to get up in the morning and you know that your friend is going to get up with you to go meet you, you'd never be like, oh, I can't sleep in, because you don't want to let your friend down. But if you're like, I want to get up in the morning for myself so I can go train or something, you're way more, you're more likely to be like, I'll sleep in. And it's a shame because you're more likely to let yourself down, the person you should really care about more in a way, than you would be to let someone else.
It forms part of the nerve in my mindset principles: motivation, intention, nerve, and discipline. The nerve is about accountability. It's about, and I always say to people, if you're going to set yourself a goal, go tell some people about it. So I'm going to go write a book. If I can start telling people. But I was telling people I was going to write a book. I might not because the MOD are being dicks. But I was intent on writing a book 3 years ago before I'd even written the manuscript. But I was telling everyone about it. I was telling people we're going to open this place before we even opened it. It creates accountability. So those meet the professor and parents evening sessions allow people to tell us their goals and help us understand what their goals are. And guess what? I'm going to ask you about them. So you better do them.
Yeah, so I think that was really valuable. And I learned a lot from it too, one, I remember being very inspirational, because when you're in the weeds of just day in, day out classes and you're just trying to make sure that class is runs super smooth and everyone gets a great time, and you almost forget the reason why you're doing it. And to then have parents be like, it changed his life. It's like he's a night and day kid. He's, they all talk about jiu-jitsu at home and they're all trying to show each other moves, and it's like, oh, right, yeah, I forgot that, this impacts people beyond the 45 minutes they're on the mat. So that was a nice little motivational, inspirational bit. And then just learned a lot around, why the parents bring them here and what they want to get out of it. Kind of like a bit from the same research stuff. It's nice to hear a lot of that.
Yeah, we're going to do another one. Certainly it's a chance to just sit down with me for 10 minutes, probably in July, I think, around the summer gathering. Cool. And we'll look to do it, once a quarter.
Nice. Running the GBF course, so we finished that in the last quarter. So that was the second GBF course we've run. One last year, one this year. And I think It was a good success in that, we provided a rare opportunity for women to come in to a super safe space, learn what is considered, like most martial arts, considered very male dominated. And I don't think anyone walked away with, not enjoying the course, or I definitely think everyone learned something from it. And we had a few of the girls stay on to keep training with us, which is great. But yeah, I think it was a good success.
Yeah, we could always be better. We could have sold more,
Yeah.
places. We could run it more often. But I know GB Harrogate do it in a slightly different way. I think it's just a good soft landing for people who are for ladies who are thinking about jiu-jitsu, like they've heard about it, but they just the idea of rolling around with 30 blokes in the first night, it just freaks them out.
Yeah.
And I think, we won't talk about it today, but certainly in the future, there's this idea that we might run mini courses as a means to start jiu-jitsu, because it's the first 4 to 6 weeks, right? If we can get you past the first 4 to 6 weeks, get you your first stripe, and you kind of understand what the hell's going on, then you're more likely to stay in it. But trying to do that after one free trial, then you come for one class, then you don't come for another week, then you come for it's just so difficult, isn't it?
100%. And yeah, so I think there's some good ideas around that, which will start probably this month. Actually, now it's May. Right, some other stuff we did, kind of go through it a little bit quicker. We released the Train Safe Guide and the First Stripe Handbook, which hopefully everyone found a lot of value in. We stuck 2 new lead coaches, so that I believe, who do we stick on? They've all kind of blurred into one of it, because we've added Sophie's on the pathway, we've got Joe Russell, Nick Butterfield, and Rock Chen. Are all
Alex Hammond done it.
Yeah, everyone, especially I think right now we're at a point where we can facilitate people to do their instructor courses. I think there's a lot of benefit in us, especially those kids, assistant instructors, and even if they don't plan to, in the short to mid-term, be a lead coach, I think there's a lot of value in them doing it, because they just become better assistant coaches. And when they do want to step up into that lead coach role, or if on a circumstance they have to step up because there's something's gone wrong, then they're just ready to go.
Yeah, I was reading in the First Strike Handbook today, actually. I think you've put in there a number of testimonials from coaches.
And that was in the in Soaps's message out for
it was. Yeah. And it was really good. Yes, right. So it was really good to hear those people like Ollie Goss say, it's one of the highlights of my week, and having that ability to impact, as we've been talking about, someone else's life in a positive way. As a lead coach, you really get to do that. Assistant coach, you get to do it a bit, but a lead coach, you really get to do that.
Yeah. Right. We decided and communicated out that we are now just open all the time for bank holidays. So kids' classes just run as normal now on bank holidays, and adult classes were open. We stick on an open mat, come down, have a bit more of a relaxed day, and get some good training. So
yeah, it's a revised schedule.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're no closure in summer.
Yeah. And kind of a big one, which is also facilitates what our main objective is in this quarter, which is mapping out and deciding the changes to the kids' timetable, which we got sorted, and now it's a case of implementing those changes, which is a huge project, but super exciting for me as the head of the program, and then all those kids, such an incredible service they're getting, completely different than what anyone else offers.
Yeah. It's not anywhere close.
Yeah. 100%.
It's not anywhere close.
Oh, and I think Soaps will message this out probably either by the time you guys are watching it or before after, not too long. There is a criteria for the advanced kids, and it is you need to be a minimum of a grey and white belt. You need to be training at least twice a week, and you need to get a coach's recommendation. So if you can hit those 3 things, then you'll be eligible to book in for the advanced class. It'll be smaller numbers, especially to start with, probably a limit of maybe 8 in the LC1s and 12 in the other kids' classes. And yeah, it's going to be quite exclusive, but really good.
It's a nice progression, isn't it, for those kids who've been in the program for a while. You would have been training for over a year as a grey and white belt. You get it, but you want to elevate to that next level. Like it's basically a semi-private class, right? Small numbers, so really exciting. On that, we want people to commit to it. So like this isn't, I'm going to do it 1 week and then not. Like you're in the advanced program.
Yeah, you book in just like, you have a recurring reservation just like you would for your normal kids classes, kids sessions, and then if you are not attending those sessions, your place will be probably forfeit to someone else. Yeah. It will fill up very quickly with the program growing. All right. I'm not sure if we really talked about this. I'm not sure if we can talk about it. It's the upgrading plans for the men's changing room.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
I think I put a message today actually, didn't he? So we want to get just to be a bit nicer in there. Another shower we want to put in, right?
A different shower, so like a shower tray rather than what we've got at the minute, which is just tiles. 2 toilets rather than 1. So that's a bit of a bottleneck for gents. Ladies have got 2, men have got 1. And then have it probably all sited on the back wall with a new cleaning cupboard and stuff. So it creates more of a square space. Yeah, I mean, it's still a great changing facility compared to most jiu-jitsu academies around the world, but we can make it even better.
Yeah, and then just some more minor ones, which would be like visit another jiu-jitsu school, which me and Soaps are going to head down to GB Arnold and just create some good ties with the wider GB team and attend some competitions, which we're both doing the week after next. With the Empire and the British Open.
Yeah, we've done a lot. There's more as well. We've done so much in the last. Without going into so much, but in the business, we've done a lot around contracts and appraisals and just really kind of elevating again that level of service, just not to our customers, but just to our staff as well. And it's taken a huge amount of investment, really, in time and money.
Yeah.
From the business and we're at that point, aren't we, that most businesses get to where you grow quite quick and you make some good money and then all of a sudden it goes like this because you have to start to put more money in to build the infrastructure out and the foundations to go again. And that's the kind of, it feels to me like we're almost out of that kind of like sticky phase and we can see the kind of green shoots of some of those things starting to appear.
Amazing, man. Was there anything else you want to talk about today?
No, I mean, we delivered a lot in the last quarter for you guys and as a business. The next quarter, which we went through yesterday in our strategy meeting, is even busier.
Yeah,
and even more exciting. And I think just to end on your points here about, like, we're constantly moving here. And that is not a negative thing. It's in the pursuit of excellence. We're constantly trying to find ways to be better for you and to be that place that provides the very best experience for you or your children. So you can count on us for that. Thanks for your support. See you on the mats.
Yeah, I think just to finish up for me, I think just to reiterate, like, the journey we're all on, and you guys I feel like we're all on a big ship, and we're all part of the team, the crew of that ship, and the destination is trying to be the biggest and best jiu-jitsu facility, first in the UK, then in Europe, then in the whole world. So, we're all part of that, and these changes, and it's a big, lofty kind of goal to say, but I think it's a, why set our target anything less than that? I don't know. So I'm just happy to be on this great journey with everyone and everyone that's watching. Thank you, Professor Mike, and see you guys on the mats.